Welcome to Squatch-D TV. Exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatchdetective, Steve Kulls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs, too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, February 18th, 2024. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatchdetective Steve Kulls, along with my co-host right down there, Mr. Chris Bennett. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Fine as frog hair. A little chilly, but, hey, spring's coming. Spring's coming. Won't be long.
Won't be long.
How's everything going for you in New York? You guys got any more snow up there?
Well, first, let me say hi to Brent down there. Hello, Brent. Good to see you.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, what's up?
Good to see you.
How's it going?
And, I would say it's been pretty good times. A little colder. It's a lot colder, a little bit windier. A little bit of snow flurries here and there, putting an inch on the ground here. It melts away and it comes back the next day. You know, that we're in that kind of cycle right now.
Yeah.
But I didn't mention this in our pre-chat. Because I just got this news a couple hours ago and I'm still processing it.
Right.
But my longtime mentor, my very early in my field mentor, Bill Brand, passed away this Thursday.
Oh, man. I'm sorry to hear
So one of the co-authors of Monsters of the Northwoods, who him and I, for a number of years tracked the forest and investigated reports.
Right.
And I found out he passed away on Thursday, and I'm very sad. But I haven't quite processed that yet. So here we are doing the show instead. So
yeah. Well, that's something we all got to do, man. Just hate to lose somebody, but the best thing to do is just keep on trucking.
Yeah. Well, I guess he was 83. So
great life, man. Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
So the just so you know, the services are going to be. Whoops! So what did I do here? Hang on. There we go. There we go. Okay. Services are going to be Friday, but luckily it's only like 5 miles up the road, 10 miles up the road here.
Right.
And it's till 8. So I will be back for the Bigfoot news Friday. But yeah, kind of tough. But we gotta keep moving forward, I suppose. It's like Joe last, towards the end of last year, and now Bill. It's like,
yeah,
life is precious. Life is precious. So let's all embrace it.
Sure is. Yep.
Anyway, we got to do our roll call this week.
Oh yeah.
And I got to tell you right now, we have quite the crowd out there.
Wow.
Everybody's, and I will predicate some things before we start off tonight. So first in tonight was Jay Pachochin.
Hey, Jay.
Oh, what's up, Jay?
Next in was and she's sitting next to her husband, Dr. Bruce Maccabee, Jan Maccabee. Hello, guys. Good to see you.
Jan and Bruce, good to see you.
Relic comment and what popped in said, we'll see you in the morning. Of course, he's across the pond, so it's nap time for him her right now.
Good to see you. See you tomorrow.
So, of course, Charlotte's in the house.
Hi, Charlotte.
Em and Chris is in there.
Em and Chris, welcome.
Pat Collins, good to see you.
Yeah, good.
Pete H.
Hi, Pete.
Jeremiah.
Bigfoot Society.
And what do you say?
The chat will be hopping tonight. Yeah, it already is.
Sure is. B. Lynn, there's B.
Hi, B. Good to see you.
And of course, we got Henry May in the house.
Henry.
What's up, Henry?
So good to see Henry in the house.
Yeah, pleased to have you, Henry.
Now I'm trying to scroll here.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Danny Staten in the house. Good to see you, Danny, sir.
Danny.
Uncle Bones, too. Good to see you as well.
Bones,
Kevin
good.
Harder,
up, man?
Professor. How are you, Professor?
Dr. Harder, good to see you.
our good friend out Black Orchard Inn as well. Sharon, how
Black
you
Orchard.
doing today?
Hi, Sharon.
Grasshopper is here.
Grasshopper.
Anita, good to see you again. Welcome
Anita.
to the
Hey.
team again. I think we said Sharon already.
If not, hello again, Sharon.
Imker in the house.
Imker, okay. Well,
Hey, John from Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks. Good to see you,
good to see
brother.
you, John.
What's up, man?
The warm weather's getting there. OT will be here.
OT, welcome.
He's kind of under the weather. Hope you feel better. Alex is in the house too.
Alex, welcome.
What's up, man?
Good to see you.
We're getting
Okay.
there, folks. I promise.
Oh,
Okay.
about halfway, yeah.
One of our frequent flyers and members, Bristol.
Bristol.
And we're going. Up, Don snuck in. There's Don Gumow Jr. Good to see you, sir.
Come out. Welcome.
Helton's in the house. Another one of our dedicated members there.
Yeah.
Hello, Helton. And we're almost to the end. Well, we're getting close to the end. Up, DM Zabo in the house. I think we said Pete H, but if we didn't, there he is.
Pete.
Arthur Watch is in.
Arthur.
Dino Crudo. Dino
Dino
Cruda
Croc-
Gigantea in the house. Damn it.
Oh,
I'm
I
just
know
gonna-
Crocodile.
That's a
Yeah.
good attempt right there. That's good.
From now on, I'm just calling you Dino.
Oh, man.
DG.
It's like me
yeah.
trying to read some of these articles off the other night. Like, well, okay,
Lil
Bandicoot.
Kilroy was SOL.
Kilroy kills me.
Ah, yes. Oh, Bill finding the trackways here.
Hey, Bill.
Nikki's also wandering around.
Nikki,
She'll be our
what's
guest
up,
next
Nikki?
week. Nikki will be our
Ooh.
guest next week. So
Right. Can't wait.
we're gonna be talking one of our favorite Bigfoot topics, hoaxes, or maybe other stuff. Feral humans in the house. Good to see you. Welcome. Angel Nolan, there she is.
Hey.
Jeff Trifoletti is also here. Buttworm, what's up, my
Hey,
brother?
Jeff. Buttworm.
Traveling with Jim Lansing. Good to see you, Jim.
Jim. Welcome. There's I see Just Steve.
Just Steve's in the house. Yep, Just Steve. Sandwich
man?
Savant.
Sandwich Savant.
I think we said Arthur Watch. And Walter Kroll,
Walter.
also here as well.
Walter.
Mark Webster, good to see you. Another one of our members. Good to see you, Mark.
Thanks.
Jay Fritz in the house.
Jay.
What's up, Jay?
Blake Burrows also here.
Blake, welcome.
Brian and Chewy go hiking.
Brian.
Looks like we got a full house tonight.
Yeah. I
Oh, there's
taking-
Squatch Watcher. Squatch Watcher's
Watcher.
also here.
welcome.
So, and on
Thank you.
Squatch Australia, if you're from down over, welcome.
Cool. That's another one, yeah.
Wood Booger Farm.
What's up, man?
Oh. That sounds like a good Alabama name right there. Woodbooger Farm.
That sure does. So here we are. Oh, and Buttworm says always lurking.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Blake Burrows, the official Chris Bennett fan club, is here.
Oh no.
All right.
no. Thanks, Blake. We appreciate all one of you, man.
T-shirts
by-
coming soon.
By the way, before we start tonight's show, we'd like to bring in Ralph because he had a comment about all the bad jokes that showed up last Friday on the Bigfoot news. And Ralph, please tell us what you thought of all of our jokes. Okay, so
Man.
Ralph has voiced his opinion, so to speak. But
Oh, boy.
okay, let's get into the serious topic.
Yeah.
So, hang on a second. How we get? So, of course, what we know is that recently, Todd Gatewood, with the assistance of M.K. Davis, and a little bit of help from Dr. Bruce Maccabee as well, came up with these enhancements of the face of Patty, and it caused quite a stir in the Bigfoot community. And now, let me predicate this. I had a long all-day conversation with Todd today, and it actually was quite simple. And I know some of his online interactions haven't been the greatest. Sometimes he feels like he's being personally attacked. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I haven't seen each example of that.
Right.
I've seen sometimes when he's said things that I was like, well, that's kind of out of line.
Yeah.
Notwithstanding personality, I try to put that aside. As an investigator and a host of a podcast show, we tried to get him on tonight, but he has a prior commitment, and he does have a spouse that's sick this week. So I understand him not, but he did spend a lot of time with me trying to explain some things, gave me some information.
Sure.
And for the first time in a long time, I've done quite an analysis on the actual process. Now, mind you, my analysis is not on what the face shows.
Right.
That's all subjective. And that's why I tell people when they see a video or photo, don't look at that. Listen to the story first. Does the story make sense? Because that's the concrete stuff. The rest, what you see in that film, is all subjective. It's what you see.
Right.
Right. And it's your opinion. No matter if you're a PhD or, a high school dropout, it doesn't matter. It's just your opinion. And what they see in something, everybody's opinion is fair game. And of course, Bill says, make one joke about a platypus always leaving you with the bill and the coyote craps on it. So notwithstanding none of this between myself, if we disagree, well, I haven't said if I disagree or not, but if we do disagree, there's nothing personal about this. Same thing with MK. MK has never said a bad word about me. To the date, Todd Gatewood hasn't said a bad thing about me. Now I know, Brett, you and him went kind of back and forth a little bit.
Yeah, we're definitely not BFFs.
Yeah, right. But the way he left the conversation today was he would like to start a dialogue with all of us. So I consider that a plus.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And like I said, I did a lot of talking. He is new to the community, relatively new. Like a year ago, who knew who Todd Gatewood was? Not many, right?
Mm-hmm.
Working behind the scenes probably, but not really out there, not understanding the Bigfoot community, not understanding maybe some social media etiquette too. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on some of that stuff. Very passionate guy about what he does. And so am I. And I thought about that too, because I've heard every once in a while somebody say that I'm arrogant. Well, no, I'm not arrogant. I'm passionate. I've done a lot of research in certain things, and it's what I believe. So I can understand why somebody may come off as arrogant. Although I don't say, I kind of give, me, I give people kind of the floor and let them talk. And we were going to do that with Todd. And unfortunately, like I said, he couldn't make it. Maybe in future conversations, maybe in a couple of months, we can get him on and have that three-way discussion. That would be a wonderful thing, because when we have, and like I said, if we can get the extremes to meet in the middle, that's a good thing for all of us.
Well, that's kind of the whole, that's kind of the whole process of research, of actual research, outside of the Bigfoot subject is to have those discussions. How did you get to these conclusions? And that's all we're kind of asking. And those are good, legitimate questions, because we need to know how should we interpret your presentation here? Is it something that we can get behind? Is it a good system that we can say, okay, this is not a Photoshop artist interpretation, we know this is good to go? Yeah, that's pretty much all I think anybody's really asking, because we kind of want to know.
Yeah, everybody's got to be willing to have a conversation. If you're not willing to have a conversation about the evidence or whatever it is you're presenting, then that doesn't make much sense.
And I think when I'm done with my analysis, and I'm going to talk to Brett before I even get into my analysis is going to be towards the end of this anyway. The end of the discussion about the enhanced photo. We're going to talk about the massacre a little bit. I don't know how much, maybe 30, 40 minutes of the show, 45 minutes. We'll talk about the massacre stuff and the big flub there. Because everybody knows my 2 cents on the massacre theory.
You should do the air. You should do the air quotes when you say massacre. Massacre.
Massacre. So again, this is, like I said, it's nothing against me. There's nothing personal. And what like I said, what I looked at was the process, what the pitfalls of the process could be, my summary, and how to improve on it.
Right.
Because I think there is something positive about this whole thing too, as well.
Right.
Not completely negative. So if I come out and say there's something positive about this, and you'll understand why at the end. I try to explain it, and I will for everybody. But Brent, let's talk about your involvement. And I don't want to get too personal about Todd, but you guys had some misgivings, and I understand that. But when you saw this, what was your initial impression?
The very first picture that he released, the headshot.
Yes. Yep.
I'm like, wow, that's why. That's like, how did you get there? Like, well, that was my first question. It's like, how did knowing what the face looked like, originally, to what that is right there, where you can see like individual hairs and stuff. It's like, wow, that's, and then, you look into the whole upscaling and that whole process. And I reached out to Todd and, really kind of talked to him about, hey, how'd you do this and stuff, and got some information. And, it's, that was my first question, was how.
Now, before we start, Mrs. Maccabee, let's not start the disrespect off the shoot here. It's not my job to disprove the massacre. It was MK's job to prove the massacre. So the onus is on the side that's claiming these wild facts. But as a lifelong professional investigator who's probably arrested 1,500 people in my career, interrogated hundreds, because I'm a trained forensic interviewer, looking at the evidence, I can kind of clearly see what's going on here as a professional investigator. So please don't disrespect me or any of us here right off the shoot. I would say the same thing if anybody says, oh, the massacre didn't happen. Let's just keep an open mind. You ask about keeping an open mind. I've looked into it with an open mind. That's how I look at things. So let's make that clear, folks, is that this is not trying to call anybody out. We will talk about that.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will. Because I think at the very end, you're going to see a very classic, provable mistake that was made. Provable.
And it's a good teachable moment. It's like you were mentioning, it's not an attack on MK or anything like that. We're going to keep it respectful, and because this is a good teachable moment, so we can set better standards going forward with how we're going to go about evidence and that whole thing. So this is, that's what this whole video or this whole discussion is about. And
we also want to welcome our good friend Mitch Hargrove over here, became a new member tonight.
Oh, thanks, Mitch.
And there it is. Thank you, sir.
I saw Mick came in, just dropped in for a minute. He's got to go. He's going to catch the show on the upload. But Mick, we're thinking about you, buddy. Appreciate you stopping in.
So I don't know what that's meant to say. We here to keep the truth. Who's truth?
We're here to keep the truth.
Who said that?
Well, I don't know. I'm here in support of the facts.
Right.
Here's the fact. Here's the fact. The whole massacre thing. Yeah. Let's.
Well, hold on. Let's stick to the program. I know we want to jump on this.
Yes, I know. I'm like, oh,
I just didn't want
a juicy steak. I just.
Yeah, you don't want. You think it's a juicy steak, and instead it's going to be one of mixed meatloafs.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to the Gatewood.
Let's do it.
The Todd stuff. So,
yeah. So I talked to Todd, and that's kind of what I asked, and I made a video about it, and he responded to my video saying, "Hey, there's some clarifications. You made a couple of mistakes. I'm like, great, let's talk about it. And then somewhere it kind of went south. I'm not really quite sure. I didn't really review the messages for like a long time, but yeah, it's great that he wants to open up that communication and stuff so we can all kind of learn how he got there. And that's pretty much all I asked.
Right.
Steve, have you got the picture that we're talking about?
We're going to show it in the analysis.
Okay. Hang on, I'm on, Chris. Hang on.
Oh, hang on, I got something going on. Okay. So, Brent, again, I don't know if you've broken down and looked at the analysis or looked at the processes. What do you find, number one, do you think it's a good piece of reference, or do you think it's imagination?
I think I would love to know how he got there with that picture from what the original picture was. I would love to know, because that's like a vast difference. And the other thing too is he released another full body upscale, or enhancement, whatever you want to call it, and it's completely different than that original face picture. And like I said, when I talked to him originally, he said 12 to 15 different programs that he used. That was trial version, is what he said in his text or in the screenshots right there. So, yeah.
Oh, here we go. Gentlemen, Enrico Palazzo is in the house.
Ooh.
Welcome.
Mr. Palazzo. And that's a play too. It's Palazzo, but okay. We are okay, folks. I know we're talking about the massacre again in the chat. We're going to push that off for now. Let's focus on that. So, Brent, should I just go into my analysis? I think that would be a good place to start.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's just as good.
Thanks, ma'am.
So, Todd Gatewood did put an essay out there, and here are some of the highlights of the expose. And what I tried to do is take out some of the more subjective things and keep in the highlights of the more what he did type of things.
Where did he? Do you know when this was released?
I do not know. I did not
Okay.
ask. Well, it's been out there. I know. See that? Okay. I know. Wait for you. You wait for me. So the highlights. The end result shows a restored image of Patty, the Bigfoot Sasquatch from the famous Patterson-Gimlin clip. Now, I have a problem with the word restored, but we'll get that. The restored image was created by Bill Munns and M.K. Davis using digital techniques and a high-quality copy of the film. They started with a high-quality copy of the original film. This provided more detail than the previous degraded versions. They used digital imaging software to work on the film like a photograph. And they use digital imaging software to work in the film frame like a photograph. I'm sorry. They stacked the multiple frames together, lining up the images to reinforce common details. They enlarged the image, upscaling beyond the original size to reveal more subtleties. They shrank the image, downscaling to refilter and consolidate details from the upscaling. The software fills in the missing information based on the surrounding pixel values, like inferring a gap in a song. No artificial intelligence or neural networks were used, only classic digital processing techniques. We'll get into that. This brought out details in Patty's face and body not visible in the grainy original film. It was careful manual work, not an automated process like Photoshop filters. The end result provides a clear, stable view of Patty for the very first time, free of grain and motion blur. Okay. So I hope that kind of helps some of it. So let's get to the next slide. Okay. So again, this is my full analysis. First, let me start by saying none of what I say here is personal. This is an unbiased analysis of the enhancement Todd Gatewood has put forth. And while Todd's personality may not necessarily mesh with others, I have, I have found common ground to obtain clarifications and from Todd to make this analysis possible. Now, Todd used the original digital software to work in the film frame like a photograph. And we explained what they did. They stacked multiple frames together. They did upscaling, downscaling, and then used software. We'll talk about that too, to fill in the missing information based on pixel values. Okay, programs used were Sony editing software, Capture One, Photoshops, and Pixelmator. So those were the programs he used to come up with this thing. Now, I'm sure it's because some programs may upscale and downscale, but they won't have the thing to fill in the the pixel values. There may be another program that they use to stack the frames together. So there's a lot of different processes here using multiple various forms of photo software. So item 1 was artificial intelligence use. It's a big thing. Brent, am I talking down to you?
What?
Was I talking down to you? Did you feel like I was talking down to you?
That was kind of random.
Yeah, well, no, I'm sorry. Somebody said on there, please don't talk down to Brent. Seems you are.
Well, I appreciate that. Who said that? But no, I didn't see it. I didn't feel that way.
Yeah, we're just having conversations here.
Well, that was kind of random, though.
I'm sorry.
Appreciate that, though, Steve.
Well, maybe they want to see Brent on top. Maybe.
That's why at first I'm like, yeah, you are talking down to me. I mean, technically,
all right,
you are.
All right, Collins. Steve is too short to talk down to anybody.
Anyways.
Now, Don, I got to do this for Don. Don, yes, I have been to LBL. Okay. Was artificial intelligence used? Todd has stated in no uncompromising terms that artificial intelligence was not used to create this enhancement. The image you are viewing is done with manual digital darkroom software using no AI. When upscaling, the computer will apply an algorithm, which we all trust and have since computing began, to the missing information based on a numeric value of pixels immediately surrounding the missing information. Okay. So, software that fills in gaps in photos based on pixel values could be considered a form of artificial intelligence, AI. This type of software often falls under the category of image and painting or image completion, and it utilizes, just like you said, algorithms to analyze the surrounding values and intelligently predict or generate missing information to fill in the gaps. The underlying mechanism may involve machine learning techniques such as deep learning, where the software is trained on a data set of images to learn patterns and relationships between pixels. In summary, if the software employs computational methods to understand and recreate missing parts of an image based on the existing pixel values, it can be categorized as a form of AI, specifically within the realm of computer and image processing.
And if that software was designed to clear up human faces and pictures, with that specific algorithm, whatever it tries to clear up, it's going to try to make it into more human too.
So it's AI, no matter how you cut it. It's a computer making that decision what to fill those pixels up in, basically. End of story. And it even says that, the word algorithm is completely used here. So, okay, while the described technique includes several effective strategies, and this is the overall technique for image enhancement, there are potential pitfalls and challenges associated with each step. So, if the number one is quality of the original film. If the quality of the original film is not truly representative or contains artifacts, the enhancements may still be limited by the quality of the source material. In this case, the film slide, which I already known about this, but now confirmed by Todd, came from Dr. Bruce Maccabee, who has the film that was previously owned by John Eric Beckford. Now, John Eric supposedly had one of the original copies. Notwithstanding, it should perhaps be the best, and I'm not disputing that. It should be one of the best of, or one of the best copies of the film, or even the master itself.
This is where I think I hope Steven Stroyford is in the chat because he might be able to better clarify this, because he was talking about the actual copy that Todd Gatewood used from that he got from MK Davis was actually MK Davis's enhancement that he did. So it wasn't the actual original photo that that was pre the enhancement. So and Steven Stroyford posted what the original photo was, which is completely different. So hopefully Steven Stroyford is in the chat and help clarify that. But that's a big thing right there. So Todd Gatewood's not even working with the original slide that we were talking about.
And Henry May, you can filibuster at any time you want. That's an inside joke there.
Well, I've got some issues I'd like to just throw in real quick.
Okay, now, according to Jan Maccabee, the master copy has a juvenile that walks 20 to 21 feet at the end of my master. Let's see it.
Sure.
Why haven't we seen it? And I hate to be that guy, but
I'll be that guy.
Please don't make claims if they're not out there.
I know,
Please
man.
don't say, and you don't intend on putting it out there.
Yeah, that's like such a dick move. That's like, literally the worst thing you can do to a community that's just really strung around by people like, oh, guess what? I know.
We have a term for that. It's called gaslighting. It's called gaslighting.
Well,
it's called gaslighting. I'm going to ask you, Jan, listen, I have nothing against you, but please control your emotions. This is not about emotion. Listen to the material presented. I suppose you were here to see if we were going to bash somebody. You don't hear us bashing anybody. So don't come in here and try to gaslight us into trying to bash somebody.
Nope.
That's all I'm asking. Stop.
Yeah, I'd love to see that footage too. So maybe tomorrow on YouTube, Jan, you can go ahead and release all that footage so we can all enjoy that juvenile walking at the last 21 seconds of that footage.
Oh,
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I'd love that. That would be great.
We'd have a watch party at your YouTube channel if you want, Jan.
Subscribe. Promise you.
Okay. Vouching, Mr. Graupner, vouching for that does not help because we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, that's not a form of evidence. I mean, that's
right.
Yeah.
That's like, anecdotal, actually.
Yeah, that's like whoop-de-doo.
Only thing
anecdotal.
Only thing we can see are the facts, and based on the evidence that's been presented, we can't gather any facts from something that's somebody
supposedly out there. No. Yeah, right. Supposedly out there, but not going to see it because X, Y, Z, and
yeah,
that's games, man. Those are games. Man.
Okay, if I'm gonna start booting people. We're gonna start being jerks. Because Woodburger Farm saying, no, Bud, you're being emotional reading it off a text. No, I'm actually reading it because they're gaslighting in there. And if you're not intelligent enough to recognize gaslighting, then maybe you don't belong here.
Well, let me throw in my 2 cents about the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Or maybe I misunderstood.
Right. Now let's not get off. Let's not get off emotions.
Let's get off.
Right.
Let's get off.
Let's back up. Now I'm going to throw this out. Everybody behave.
Right.
If we have clips from the Patterson-Gimlin film frames that are taken from that 16mm film. Now 16mm film is filmed in grains, little tiny dots that form an image. And that's why you can take and you can blow up a film grain image and it shows a lot of detail. And that's great. And, I have the utmost respect for Bill Munns because if he was able to get multiple copies and stack those in order to get the highest quality film grain image of that frame, that's great. And we could blow that up. And that's as far as we're going to get with what Patterson-Gimlin's creature Patty is going to look like in the face. Because once you take that image, that film grain image, and you scan it into a digital format, you've converted grain into pixels.
Exactly.
And that's a whole big difference. That's a whole difference.
And what I can do is I can just shut the chat off so nobody talks. We can do it that way too.
Well,
I'm trying to put an unbiased piece of information up.
Right.
And every other word I say, somebody is saying, giving material that's not real, and still talking about the massacre stuff. So,
well, we'll get into the massacre,
right.
But first of all, one step at a time.
Yeah. Okay,
Everybody
so
knows.
here are the pitfalls of the process. The effectiveness of digital imaging software depends on the algorithms used. Poorly designed or implemented algorithms may introduce artifacts or distortions during the enhancement process. Stacking multiple frames, alignment issues, or variations in lighting between frames could cause misalignments and negatively impact the final result. Additionally, if there's significant motion in the scenes, stacking frames may lead to blurring or ghosting.
You get really wonky when you start to pixel peak too. You know, when you start to zoom in and it's like, whoa, that's not a human face. You know?
Yep. So, upscaling. While upscaling can reveal more details, it may also introduce artificial details or pixelation. Artificial detail, especially if the scaling factor is too high. The quality of the upscaling algorithm is crucial in determining the success of this step. Downscaling is used to refilter and consolidate details, but it may result in the loss of information if not done carefully. The choice of the downscaling algorithm and parameters is important to avoid losing important details or introducing artifacts. Filling in missing information. Inferring missing information based on surrounding pixel values is a form of in-painting. The success of this process depends on the accuracy of the in-painting algorithm. It may struggle with complex patterns, structures, and may introduce artifacts if not carefully implemented. Again, we're talking it may struggle with complex patterns or structures, may introduce artifacts. Subjective interpretation. Image enhancement is often a subjective process, and different individuals may have different opinions on what constitutes an improvement. Balancing enhancement without introducing unintended changes is challenging. Computational resources. Producing large image stacks and applying advanced algorithms can be computationally intensive. It may require significant computational resources and time, which could be a limitation in certain applications. Okay, number 9, ethical considerations. Depending on the context, there may be ethical considerations related to the image manipulation. Again, there's that word manipulation, especially if the enhanced images are used in sensitive areas such as forensics or historical documents. Okay, in summary, while the described technique is powerful for image enhancement, careful consideration of the challenges and potential pitfalls is necessary to ensure the desired outcome and avoid unintended consequences. Okay. Unfortunately, because of the ethical considerations in this enhanced image, it does rely on software to fill in the blanks, and its accuracy is dependent on algorithms it uses. A slight variation of that algorithm which filled in the missing pixel values will yield a different result. This process would not be valid in the sphere of science, nor any court, civil, criminal, or otherwise. Okay. Recommendations. I would like to see this process completed with the omission of any software used or attempt to fill in pixel values. This would remove any imaginative additions to the enhancements, either human software generated or AI generated. After conversing with Todd, I feel he is relatively new to the field, and his attempt, although flawed in the end, was an honest attempt at a contribution to this field. I hopefully look forward to seeing a future attempt sans the guesswork done on the missing pixels. If he has access to the film copy he claims, future contributions could be extremely useful.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think you really kind of pointed out what kind of the issue might have been. Was he's new to the subject, he's new to the research subject of maybe how to present evidence, what is classified as evidence, and how evidence is received, especially in this subject here. And it's just a learning process that we all have to go through. And it's something that, he's going through, and so it's good that he's open to listen to, you know, different ways to go about presenting his evidence and stuff. So,
yep.
Yeah, you know, like I said,
and
I'm all on board. I'm all on board for stacking the frames of the same film in order to increase the grain that is within that image.
Hey, and upscaling and downscaling, all of that's good. You know, the issue is having something fill in those pixel values because,
right.
You know,
number one, you convert grain to pixels. When you convert grain to pixels, that's different.
Yeah, and you know, like MK Davis and Todd Gatewood are telling us that this is the Patty's face, you know, and it's like, really? Like, how did you kind of come to that conclusion? And that's kind of like the issue, is they're touting this as evidence that we can use as like, this is Patty right there, and it's like, whoa, are you sure?
Yeah, and if you and truthfully, Woodbooker, if you can't see the emotion going through a particular person in the chat who's saying, you know, you'll see, LOL, good luck, making comments like those, you can see there's emotion, and emotion has no process in this. So that's how, you know, and you're actually right. It's very hard sometimes to get an emotion out of a text, but people do for some reason. They do it all the time on social media.
Oh, yeah, man, that's like the worst. Right. Yeah, it's the worst way to communicate. Or the best way to misinterpret words.
There's no inflection. What I would say to Jan is, I would love to see this film and what you're claiming to be this young Sasquatch running in it later. I would love to see that.
Why isn't it not out after 50 something years? Like,
because I have a feeling it's pareidolia. That's my opinion without seeing the film. I'd have to see the film.
I've seen every second of that film, and the part where it's like walking away too, it's like,
Now that's funny right there, Jay.
I love Jay.
And Woodbooker, I meant no offense to you. That wasn't meant to offend you. I'm just
no.
I gaslighting is emotion, nothing but emotion. And when somebody says brings out something nobody's ever seen before, and they're acting like they're talking fact, like, okay, they may know the facts, but you know what? If you're not willing to put it out there, then you can't talk about it.
We're not here to make anybody mad. We're here to discuss the facts on evidence that has been presented that we have seen. And you know, I can't comment.
You know what, Jan? I probably have not, but I find it amazing that after how long has it been now since the Patterson-Gimlin film has been out?
1967 to
50 some odd years.
57 now,
right? If something was on there, I think Roger would have said something or showed it. I think Bob Gimlin would have been talking about it. And I think because there would be money value in that, wouldn't there?
Well, there would be prints too that they would have probably found as well.
Right.
And there was none. But, you know, again, you know, if there's evidence out there like that, it just, you know, release it. If not, then don't talk about it, because it's not worth being out there, because it just seems like it's more of a carrot.
The 57 years this October. But,
yeah, so I mean, there is nothing personal there about this.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's not. It's just like, yeah.
If somebody's got some film that we've not seen that shows something, you know,
I would love to see
it. Yeah, I'd pay to see something like that.
Well, it comes down to it. Why not release it? I mean, gosh, you know. I think it is. It's probably someone's like you're saying. It's probably just pareidolia, where it's like open to interpretation. Like, whoa, that just looks more like, you know, grain or something on the film. But no, some people, I encounter that a lot with people when they're like, I'm not going to release my evidence because, you know, everybody's just going to like crap on it, and so they don't, and because it's not evidence really.
Well, we know that when Patterson-Gimlin film was released, it was done in conjunction with a wildlife nature film company, and they would show that at the beginning before they showed their nature documentary or whatever it was. And a lot of times when they did show it at the theater, Patterson would have appearances at the theater, and do a question and answer session with the audience. So
the fake Bob Gimlin too. Is that the ones where he had the fake Bob Gimlin out there?
He had a fake Bob Gimlin reportedly. Yes, that's true. So
I'd love to interview that guy.
This up? Why wouldn't he have brought this up during his presentation? And if you look at the end of the film, we have 20 seconds of it.
Right. And I understand, Jan, they're facts as you know them. But if they're not out there in the realm where we can all see them, then they're not facts yet, are they?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is like, this is a research-based subject, having that information out there is like, why wouldn't you? Like, and why are you so surprised that we act like this towards it? Because it's like, this is the Bigfoot subject where it's constantly being screwed around by people. So it's of course.
You've got to understand, we've heard a lot of wild claim. We've heard a DNA doctor say that she's got the code to the Sasquatch DNA. That turned out to be okay. Great. I look forward to that day, and I will definitely be one of the first persons, on the edge of my seat to see that.
Me too.
Well, can you say why it's not?
I would love to see Dr. Bruce's analysis on that as well.
Well, did she say why it's not released yet?
No. But you know what though? I look at it this way. I never ask, well, why isn't it released yet? I never ask that because I'm very pragmatic in investigation, as one should be. So if Dr. Bruce is looking at this, he's being pragmatic about it and looking at it with with a very fine, going over it with a fine-tooth comb. What I don't want to see is somebody like MK try to say what it is, or even Todd for that matter. I want to see the PhD, the professional, give me his interpretation of it. That's what I would love to see. So,
whoa. Sure put on the spot now, Jan. I'm getting that video released. Just saying.
There's Lester. Just the facts, ma'am.
Yeah, man, that's all we can deal with now. It's just facts.
So let's talk about a little bit about this more. Now, from what you've heard on this, do you think that if Todd just took the recommendations I took, do you think that would actually improve that, with the upscaling, downscaling, and leaving the AI image generation out, or the computer generation out, if he is offended by the word AI?
The algorithm, yeah.
The algorithm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that'd be a great step on, getting a closer to a better understanding of, a good process that we can use for actual evidence, because that's really kind of what we need to figure out is how can we use the software that he has to really enhance it in a way that, scientifically, because how something to kind of compare it with, how they have like the James Webb telescope and the Hubble telescope, and how they take those photos and how they get it back, and they don't look like that. They actually have to Photoshop them basically, but they do that with a certain principle of, they know that, okay, we know that this certain cloud is a gas, so we know it's going to look like this. And so they have a certain algorithm that's defined by a scientific method. So if there's something that we can do with the programming like that, then it will help aid on better gauging on what we can use as evidence versus what someone's just artist interpretation is about this and stuff. Because I'm sure this is just the very beginning of what people are going to start producing out there of the patty face and stuff, with the way the AI generators are working more and more. They're becoming more free and more accessible and working a lot better and stuff. So, so we need to have a better set standard. And that's kind of one of the last video I made with Todd. It's like, that's kind of where we need to be at, is set a better standard of, how did you do this? How did we get there? And can we get this approved? Not by me, of course. I don't have that technical mind, but there's people out there in this field that can help dial in how we can use AI effectively for evidence enhancement of like film like this, and maybe other future films too.
I mean, I suppose, one of the things you could say about this enhancement is this. Fear Feral Humans. It is actually Jan. I knew she was going to be here tonight. So just to answer that question, he said, I don't think Jan is the actual Maccabee, but I was told that Jan would be in the house. And I actually talked to her earlier. And again, it's nothing personal.
Oh, that's a weird coincidence.
What?
Oh no, if there's another Jan Maccabee, that's not the Jan.
No, that's her.
That'd be weird.
That's her. Yeah.
But let me ask.
Well, hold on a second, Jan. I disagree with you on that point. That's a Todd and MK know what they're doing. Todd is learning. MK made a lot of missteps in his day. The fence climber video.
Not he's retracted either.
Right.
And that's important, is to like say, hey, sorry, I messed up, or hey, I don't think this anymore. Right. Hey, I'm, because it's like, man, a lot of the stuff that MK has presented about the massacre, which never mind, we're not going there yet. Anyways.
Yep. Right. Some of the stuff that MK has propagated as being real are known hoaxes. The Texas fence climber is one of them. That was Mike Sells in a ghillie suit climbing the fence. I've seen all those. I was at the property. I interviewed Mike Sells. I was there. I was also there when there was a bunch of baited phony Bigfoot prints put out on the sandbar too, coincidentally, that Mike led us to. So, have
any of you guys ever seen these filters that they're real popular among young ladies? And I think they use them. It may be from something TikTok or one of those apps, and they have a filter on their phone, and they can take a photo of themselves or video and run it through that filter, which is an algorithm. And this takes their appearance, which may be similar to mine, which is kind of non-handsome and non-beautiful. And it really recreates their face to where it's, oh my gosh, this lady is just gorgeous. That's an algorithm.
Wood Booger, yes, it's on the channel. In fact, there's two videos on it.
Or Chris, there's actually a guy who did that unintentionally. He was an Instagram star he was a motorcycle guy, and he'd post all these really cool pictures and stuff. And he would use the face of this girl because he was like an older Asian guy, but he had the long hair and stuff. And you should YouTube that. It's an interesting story, but it's very similar to what you're talking about. How he used this and got like millions of subscribers and was considered like such a, anyways.
Right. So these image enhancement algorithms are not exactly what you may think. Don't believe what you see. In other words, like I was saying earlier, if I respect the work of stacking the copies, the frames of the film, and then blowing those up and getting a close image, the best look that you could get at Patty's face. But honestly, without digitizing that and then adding an algorithm, which was going to be artificial intelligence, that's the best you're going to get. The film grain is the best you're going to get. That's reality. Everything else is just made up.
Well, hang on. I meant to star that, not there. We're going to get into that, Jan. Hold your horses.
Yeah.
Because I got an answer for that. What you saw was not did you actually see Bigfoot getting shot? Did you see one go down? Well, we'll get into that. Because if you didn't.
Thank you, Trackway. I'll move there.
Okay. So you're going to continue to gaslight and not listen to any bearing. So maybe we should just ignore you and not respond to anything you say because you got your mind made up.
Oh, that's okay.
I thought,
just start the questions and we'll get through this part and we'll get on to her stuff.
Right. Now, I'm trying to open your mind. I'm not trying to be mean or nasty. I'm trying to say, stop, open your mind for 1 second. Look at the other side because you're sitting there going, nope. Well, guess what? You're not here to learn anything. You're not here to get any advice. You're here to gaslight.
So it's probably because she's friends with him and she's defending her friend. And that sort of defending is really getting in the way of Bigfoot research in a big way, like big time. And as far as like stuff isn't being presented or facts being enabled that shouldn't be. And because of friendships, people don't want to ruin friendships, and they don't want to go against their friend. They'll rather stick up with their friend versus try to believe they're a hoaxer. So,
Okay,
that's a big factor.
And I know you say you're not gaslighting, but we said we're talking about the Patterson AI image enhancement, not the massacre yet. Yet you continue to talk about the massacre. So wait.
Just wait 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. Maybe 15.
Right.
But no more than 20.
So I look at it this way. What we're seeing here that Todd did, and this is a compliment, by the way. What I'm seeing what Todd did here is basically like a artist, like a police artist sketch. This is what it could possibly look like. I think the claims were overstated. That's the problem with it. Conceptually, This is what Patty could look like. That would be fine if that was the word put out there. If it was presented in that term, I don't think anybody would have a problem with it. Right? But it was oversold. And I understand the excitement. I understand not being too new. And I understand about being new to the community. I get all that. So I think there is some good work to be done here with that. Okay, that's a good artist conception, no matter how it was made, what Patty may look like, but it's not evidence. It's not proof. And what do we see in a police artist sketch from the actual criminal that's caught?
Sometimes they're pretty close. Sometimes they're not.
Like I said, a lot of times they're close, but they're not exact. So I think we will get to that, Jan. I got proof. I do have proof of that too.
Well, come on, let's just start in on it. See, go ahead.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that how many times do we see, and the sketch isn't exactly like the person, no matter what sketch it is. It's close, but it's not quite.
And
thank you, Red Creek Mafia.
Red Creek
We
Mafia.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
So I think I really think that there's something to it that's positive about it, but it's certainly not evidence. It's certainly not. Well, that's a very interesting, could it look like Patty? Well, that's a pretty good thing, but it's not evidence. It's not a breakthrough. It's like I said, it was oversold. But I think
when my wife showed me my photo ran through that filter, oh my God. Oh, wow, look at that guy. He is handsome. But when I look at reality in the mirror, it's not the same guy.
Absolutely, Red Creek Mafia.
Those algorithms, they can be very
right
enhancing.
And these are honest questions to have and honest requests to have, because again, this is a research-based field. It's not just a whatever type of field some people might think it is, but no, it's research-based. It's serious. Look outside the research subject. This is how research is done. If somebody's like trying to present something as evidence, well, they need to show the chain of custody of how they got there, unless they want people to accept it. If not, then it's just kind of rejected. It's pseudoscience that nobody ever really takes serious. And it's a good thing he's opening his mind, because like you say, he's new to the subject, so he's just kind of learning the whole process. And hopefully this is one of those good teachable moments that he can get something from.
Right. Okay, so let's talk massacre theory. Here we go. So,
dun 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 dun. Sorry, I had to do some sort of like intro music to it.
Right.
Sorry. Had to build it up.
Now, for some reason, and this is coming from somebody that has investigated crime for 30 plus years. When I see a picture, I think upper right there, which is what MK is claiming as a body or a red pool of blood. Look at the other picture there. It looks kind of brownish, doesn't it? The bottom line is that blood, and you can actually, if I go back to the picture that's on the left there, the big one, you can actually see in the water. You can see the stone at the bottom of the water.
Right.
Right. It's clear. So when blood is left, especially in water, after a few hours, it will start to turn black. Because what is the number one metal in blood? Iron. And what happens is that iron starts to oxidize, and in water, it starts to oxidize even quicker. Right? So it's going to dry black or very, very dark brown. It's going to be sticky. It's not going to be translucent. So from somebody who's been at murder scenes, somebody who's been at shootings, somebody who has visited death scenes a few times where a person has been dead for more than a week, that is not blood.
Well, so the picture on the top right there, that red picture, where did that come from? That came from MK Davis, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, it did. But and the one that you show right here, that's the original, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so there's a big difference right there of the two colors. So obviously it's different. It was enhanced. So it's like, okay, well, it goes back to what we were talking about with the AI. So how did you get to the red right there? And MK Davis does show how he gets to the red, which he does alter the contrast and the different ways he does it. So it's like he's changing what the original film looked like. He's trying to gauge it with different like pinpoints in the video there to try and make it accurate, but he's changing it to 2 red, and that's why everybody thinks it is, and nobody else thought it was red until MK Davis made it red. And Woodburger's talking about how that looks like a backhoe. Well, it also looks like a creek too, so I see more evidence that a creek made that than a backhoe made that. So I'm going to go with the evidence with that.
Okay, so let's look at if you look to the left side of the picture on the left, if you can see what it is the creek was much larger at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
See that? You can see soil erosion from the top of the sandbar downward. That's why it's sloped at an angle. See that? That's erosion. That's not dug out. If you see this kind of cut, which you see all around that bend there, that's erosion. The creek is just at a low point.
Yeah, they had like 100 years flood or something prior to that, and that widened out the creek bed
Right.
Significantly. Yeah.
If you walk the Pulteney River, you'll see that kind of formation all the time as you walk the Pulteney River.
It's so common here.
Right.
Yeah, it's so common here because we get like massive rainstorms that get shot down into the culverts and stuff, and it's just like it will move rocks like that. It's like it's not that uncommon, really.
So there's a bunch of real questions, and let me just Nikki brings one up and says, who basically the bodies are there.
Oh yeah.
Why hasn't MK gone there and recovered them? Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of information. The first time I ever saw MK at a show, he was selling bottles of Bluff Creek dirt. All you had to do was take that Bluff Creek dirt, spread it out, put a little luminol on it, and see if there's any blood in there. Just saying. I mean, there's ways of doing it. Although years past, I doubt there's any residual blood left. But again, when did he go there? 20 years ago. You know, if Roger and Bob did it, Gimlin had a 5-shot Remington rifle. So you're going to take down multiple 800-pound creatures with just 5 shots before reloading. And then after the first shot, do you think the other ones are just going to stick around? Be taken off. Okay, there is no evidence of a backhoe there. People say, "Oh, that may be dug." Show me a track. Show me a backhoe track. There isn't one. That's just to name a few things. If they had a Sasquatch body, why would Roger take all the criticism? Why would he answer this question? If Roger had a body, why did he just show? I don't know the caliber. Finding. It may have been a 30-06, actually. I think, and Bob had said it might have been a 30-06. But
that would have come the common came out
right. And that would have been a more logical. Why would he take all the abuse over all those years and say, "Oh yeah, you think I'm faking it? Here's a body." Because tell you what, there is no legal matter involved. Like the thing is, well, they were afraid of getting arrested. It wasn't a crime. You shoot a Bigfoot today, it doesn't even matter if it gets qualified tomorrow as a Homo sapien. Right.
Mm. The first one is home free.
Right.
After that, who knows?
Whatever ones are home free until a law gets passed. Once
right.
the law gets passed and the enacted date starts, then it's off limits.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
but just to kind of show how silly the whole massacre thing is. So we're led to believe that a family of Bigfoots were massacred back in the summer of 1967, not the fall, the summer of 1967, and was buried with a backhoe back there, and is still there to this very day. And what's watching it is a trail cam with an oven mitt behind it, an oven mitt. Literally, that's what's watching one of the greatest finds in modern history, right? That will redefine who we are. And here it is out there for us all to get, and all that's watching is a trail cam with an oven mitt behind it. Literally, I even had a picture of the oven mitt and the trail cam there. That's what MK Davis wants us to think. Literally wants us to think. Wow, like that is so stupid that it's like, let that sink in. That's what we're supposed to believe. That's where the Bigfoots are. It's being watched by a trail cam in the same spot they were for almost 60 years. I mean, God.
So my question would be, like, what would be the motive behind it? There is none. They killed a bunch of Bigfoot for what? For nothing. They didn't present it as evidence. For what? Makes no sense. If you can't come up with a viable motive, let alone any physical evidence, because there's no physical evidence to prove that. There's only subjective evidence saying that that's a puddle of blood, when you can clearly see through that in the picture there.
Yeah.
Right.
The saturation level has been increased or something. He's done something to working with the image enhancement to change that color of that water there.
And that's what happens when you try to draw out detail on a larger subject. That does happen. Right. The colors get a little wonky, as I like to call it. That's my official scientific term for that, wonky. No, Jan, sorry, it's not.
And I would like to just
you have no proof of it. Okay, so what proof is it that it's blood? There is zero evidence there is blood.
Yeah, well, I think she's going off MK. She's going off MK's evidence, which is altered. So it's like, why are you using altered evidence?
That's time. Altered. That's not evidence. That's his opinion.
True.
That's his opinion that it's blood.
Yeah. But he altered the evidence right here to fit his, or to create the narrative. And he's spent literally the last 10, 15 years obsessed and like going over that with a fine-tooth comb. And this is one of many things he talks about with Patty, like having a stick, not having a stick, getting shot. There's a baby, there's braids, there's all this different stuff that he's like, when you get so invested into something, you can lose your way within it. And I think that's what happened with him, that he's lost within his own narrative, that he can't get out of it. He can't see anything with that,
Well, that's what
other than that.
It's a conspiracy theory is all it is.
Yeah. And it's like
nothing but theory. There is zero evidence, zero bodies, zero blood evidence.
Yeah.
Speculation that we're going to prove is wrong right here about Bob Titmus. We're going to prove that right now. It's very interesting how people go down the rabbit hole with this.
I would like to throw something out, Steve, that I would be perfectly willing to fund a recovery expedition to this site to recover Bigfoot remains.
I'll do it.
And I would pay whatever it costs, contingent.
I got a shovel.
On the recovery of those remains. I will pay whatever it costs, contingent on the delivery of those remains.
Because that trail cam that's watching. That trail cam that's watching it. It's not no Wi-Fi or anything hooked up to the internet because it's still remote out there. That they're not going to know that something happened until they come check the trail cam again with the oven mitt behind it.
Right, and of course,
it's so silly.
It's boy, the chat's hopping. But and Chris says his copy, Patty shoots JFK from the grassy knoll. That's it.
That was good. I gotta admit, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, that's what this is not gonna hear is because like Pat Collins says, that basically this is a mud puddle. Well, actually, it's very brown water. And that is, the unfortunately, that's the fact. There is no evidence of blood. There's only opinion that there's blood. That's it. This is not this massacre theory, or the massacre theory is nothing but conjecture. It's conjecture that that's blood, conjecture that there was bodies. And you know what? Where's the evidence? There was nobody on scene that ever said they killed. There wasn't a whistleblower, right? We expect some guy from Missouri who visited the site a couple of times, talked to Bob Gimlin, did some analysis on a film, and magically in Mississippi, he comes up with this marvelous theory with all the facts. Right? Not that and that's not a slam on MK. I'm just saying that you see how preposterous this sounds when you have people like the Bluff Creek Project there, like you have people, that are there for hours and hours and hours and hours and looked at the film over and over. Robert Lederman. I mean, look at that. And Finding Trackway says that's where the platypus stepped out onto the land because he had bills to pay.
Wah, wah, wah.
Oh, man.
He's looking for Ralph again.
But here's what it kind of comes down to is last year me and MK was going to have an online discussion that was going to be hosted by Brendan with CARC, right? Catskill organization.
Catskill Appalachian Research.
Yeah, but because that's what we kind of really need to do is have a sit down discussion with him. He backed out because he said he didn't want to put his heart through it. I guess he's going through some health things, and he thought it might work up his and stuff. So what I recommend is have Todd Gatewood, because that discussion needs to be had with these two right here, and like really discuss this evidence, especially the evidence with Keith and Bob, how people are saying that Keith is actually Bob, and you have direct evidence to show that it's not. So if we can get some concessions on what MK is, via Todd Gatewood or whatever, so we can really discuss this with those two people and really go at, talk to them about this evidence that we can present and stuff. Because I did like a real deep dive on this. So it's really kind of disappointing, but that's what kind of needs to happen, in my opinion, MK.
And no, Jan, this is not a roast. This is fact. There is no evidence other than opinion that this happened.
Yeah, there's no is subjective evidence, and it's, like that red puddle there.
And it's and it's a minority subjective opinion, right?
Well, I've not
Nobody
been,
else. Yeah. Where's the whistleblowers? Where are, none. You would think that one of them would turn around and say, okay, I'll admit it. This is what happened. It happened 50 years ago. Let's go find the bodies. But there's no motive.
Steve, I have not been to the Patterson-Gimlin film site. So I want to know, is this privately owned property here? Or is this part of the national forest or something?
I believe it's part of the state forest.
State.
Like the state owns it, yep.
Yeah, they were actually making a road right next to Bluff Creek here. So you could actually literally drive right up to the film site. Not up to it, but you can go drive up to the road. And
easier access than the original.
Easier access, yeah. So it's
right. And again, Jan, I like I said, I'm trying so hard for you to try to look at this from our point of view and stop being so defensive. This isn't your story. This isn't your hypotheses. You've got no skin in the game. Stop trying to defend it so vehemently. What you need to do is open your eyes.
Well, it comes down to she's got that pre-existing bias, and this is what a lot of people have.
Again, there it is. I'm a truth seeker. Well, I'm a truth seeker too, and I'm telling you, there is no evidence for this. If you got evidence, show me a body. Show me a body, because that's the ultimate evidence, right? It isn't that, and I forget how many states you can't charge somebody with murder. Correct? You can't charge somebody with murder without there being a body, right?
If you got evidence that proves the case for the Sasquatch bodies is real, send it to Steve.
Evidence, or in other states, if there is enough blood evidence, then you can bring somebody from, they can't find the body, but there was blood all over the place, and right? So, but here's the point. They have to prove that it was actually blood.
Yeah.
That's not proven that that's blood. That is an opinion of one person who has spread it out to a bunch of people. Right.
And the evidence that he's using is altered.
Correct.
Photo has been manipulated.
Correct.
Yes.
So that would just like Todd's enhancement, that wouldn't be a valid piece of evidence.
Looks nice, but can't use it as evidence.
I mean,
can't say that's a 100% representation of that figure in the film. Cannot say that.
If we were to take that frame of the photo and enhance it and saturate it and make that water purple, would we have evidence that a family of Smurfs was murdered there?
Oh shit!
No, we would have a frame enhanced to make the water purple, just like this has been enhanced. But
and just like Scott Marlowe, the late Scott Marlowe, trying to file murder charges in California against Bob Gimlin.
Oh my God.
That happened a number of years ago when this. So
he got death threats with the whole how to hunt reemergence of it.
Sure. And with when you talk without evidence, you can hurt somebody.
If we have,
and that's what half these knucklehead people that say things about other people, that make level accusations that aren't true, that turn out that they be true. I believe you were a victim to that once too, Brent.
Fuck yeah. Like public enemy number one.
Yeah. And that was dangerous.
Yeah.
And what happened was, they took a picture of you and said, "Oh, that looks like Brent," and it wasn't. Mm-hmm. Clearly, it wasn't.
Yep.
Well,
and the guy thankfully the guy recanted and said, "Oh, I messed up."
this is a mystery that we could solve. This is a mystery that we could solve. If somebody can present facts and prove this has really happened, Squatch-D TV
Will be the first
sponsor
to
it.
air it.
We'll take care of it. Yeah.
Hey, if somebody wants to send me the GPS coordinates of the bodies, I'll go. I got a shovel, man. I'll go dig it up. Literally, I'll go do that like next week. Literally, like, well, I don't know about the weather there, but
if the road is close enough, we'll get a backhoe in there and have them rascals
dig that bad boy up. Yeah,
no problem.
We'll know by the trail cam with the oven mitt behind it.
This is a solvable mystery.
Right. And Jan,
it really is. It's not
Jan, you know what? I would be the first. I would host you guys showing that live, and you could put MK on the air, and you could put Todd there and Dr. Bruce there. And I'll sit back, I'll shut up and say, okay, go ahead, guys. Floor's yours. Let's see it. I have no skin in the game there. But what I will say, maybe you do have something very interesting on that film. I'm not saying you don't. But I'm saying if MK said, hey, look, that's what that is, then I would have a little reservation.
Yeah, I'd want to verify that.
And Jan, I'm glad you're just here to tell the truth, because I'm here to tell the truth. In fact, my history in this field goes back a number of years, busting a lot of hoaxes. A lot of hoaxes that people thought were real but weren't. And like my investigative nose is better than most. So, okay. So here's another picture of, again, this picture looks a little bit marked up. There's a clearer picture. And there's no pistol. That was made the claim. There's a even clearer picture. And this is supposedly them burying bodies. Now, it doesn't look like a body to me. Where do you see a body in there? I see something that could be a piece of wood. Or maybe some rotted wood in the ground, which is expected when you're, I don't even know what's going on there. I don't see shovel. The other thing is, too, I don't see any shovels. I just see guys standing around.
White lady? Dog?
That's White Lady.
Is that the dog's name? Yeah. White lady. Yeah.
Let's talk about Bob Titmus for a minute. Jan, you had made the comment earlier. Titmus was a taxidermist, true. Where is it? But anyway,
I'll find it while you talk. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, you had made the claim that Bob Titmus was there. This is an interview years ago when Al Hodgson was alive, who had told the late Bobby Short that Bob Titmus was there. So, no, Jan, stay and watch for a minute, because we're going to disprove right now that wasn't Bob Titmus. So Al Hodgson claimed, I wish I hadn't said that, but I was wrong. He thought Bob Titmus was there. He was not. But anyway, where's the proof in that? Because the guy claimed that MK has claimed that it's Bob Titmus was really a guy named Keith Cesare. In fact, a month before the Patterson-Gimlin film was even taken, Keith Cesare was in the newspaper talking about being with the gentleman like Dale Moff and John Green and White Lady out in the area. He was the pilot of the plane. And Renee DeHinden said, hey, if you're going to be here, you might as well grab a rifle and come up with us, right? And they were carrying rifle. Why? Because other animals, wolf, yotes, bear, and it's right there, all in print. Who was there? Renee DeHinden, by John Green, and Dale Moffat, and White Lady. And there it is, right there. Right there. Month before the Patterson-Gimlin film. And guess where they went? They didn't go to Bluff Creek. They went to Onion Mountain. Yep. What you're seeing is stuff not from Bluff Creek. You're seeing stuff from Onion Mountain. That's the mistake. That's where he was wrong, because somebody found this article. Okay. Right there. That is Keith Cesare. That is not Bob Titmus. Jan, you know what? I'm sorry. You don't want to see the truth. You only want to see the truth as you want to believe it. But there is the evidence, and that is so important for people to understand. The people that belong in this mystery as investigators and researchers. And Jan, I'm sorry, but you're so biased that you can't see the truth in front of you. There it is, completely debunked that Bob Titmus was there. There's White Lady, there's Keith Cesare, there's Rant with the dog, or Dale with the dog, Dale Moffat. There's John Green. You don't know what more you want.
Biases can be strong, like with the whole Bigfoot tree. I would show people, like, here's the branch making the noise. Like, here it's shooting it down, like, proof. Nope, not good enough. It's still a Bigfoot under the tree. So some people, you can show them all the evidence, factual evidence, but their bias is just going to keep them from
the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yeah. Yep. That's what Todd has. Todd Gatewood.
That right there, that fact that Steve has uncovered, Bob Titmus was not there. That is a nuclear bomb. That is.
Well,
blows up the narrative.
Woodbooger asked a good question. I suppose she did show what she had. Would you believe then? Hey, if it clearly shows other Sasquatch in the film, then yeah, I'd be like, ooh. I'm like that, man. I mean, I remember getting to film the New York Baby video, or AKA the Pigeon film. I remember going, oh, this is going to be baloney. And just, the thing swinging in a tree, right? Maybe not. Watched it, like, there it is. Holy. And what's that big one walking around? It's that big dark mass walking back there. So, yeah, like I said, I have no skin in the game. It'd be kind of interesting to see it. Like I said, I would gladly say, hey, you guys want to come on and show that information? We would love to see it. Get that film, digitalize it, show it to everybody.
If it's the same person's opinion that Bob Titmus was there, as it is the same person's opinion that there was a Bigfoot massacre there, and we have proven beyond any doubt through factual evidence that Bob Titmus was not there.
But don't show me a film that's a blob squatch.
And they get mad that we don't go along with your narrative, that it's
don't show me
that it's what you say it is. Yeah, because if you do get mad, then it's like there's something seriously wrong there, as far as your investigation has been derailed by being emotionally compromised by it. Happens to us all.
Right,
I've been there. That's why we got to restart our investigation.
And you know what? Good God, you're hanging around. Sometimes if you can hang around with the wrong people, you got to hang around with the people that have investigative tact, not a lot of subjection in their evidence, and that's really important.
So I believe that M.K. Davis, his latest thing is that Patty was actually shot earlier in the year during the summer, and that's where Woodbooger's talking about the shadow length, is that M.K. Davis is now saying that Patty was now shot during the summer, and all the stuff with Keith and all that just, will align with that. So I haven't really got a lot of information about the shadow length. I talked to Daniel Perez about it a little bit, and I cannot remember what he said about it. But so that's what Woodburger's talking about when it comes to the shadow length, because that's his latest claim.
We have to look at psychological motives. So if we're talking about a crime, then criminal psychology applies here. Would you not say that's correct? Right. So what would you expect an offender of a mass shooting to do after the shooting? You would expect them to keep quiet about it.
Oh, yeah.
Right. You would expect them not to say anything to anybody about it. But what happens? You write a newspaper article about it. That is not offender behavior, folks. Not offender behavior, right? Right? That is also fact. Right? You're going to hide. You're not going to say nothing to nobody. You're not going to sit there with a big smile on your face and say, hey, you know what? I went on this Sasquatch investigation. Thank you so much, Anita. We appreciate that so much.
Thank you.
Hope you're feeling better.
Yes.
Yeah, but and
Sweet lady.
A lot of people feel like the guns that were in the frames of those photos, that just confirms it. No, a lot of things are different now than they used to be, because when I was in high school, we would go to school with the truck, and we'd have guns sitting in the back window of the pickup truck in the parking lot. Nobody thought anything about it.
So, Jan, since you're answering everybody else's important questions, actually, you're not answering questions. You're just making statements. Answer the question. Do you have a target date for the film's release? Simple as that. No big deal.
And can you mention why it hasn't been released yet? Inquiring minds want to know.
Yep. It's in vault. Hopefully not Vault of Nightmares. It's
in a vault, huh?
Well,
secret place.
If they're working on a deal with one of the, like a Discovery Channel or something, that's highly possible. It could be, well, we can't talk about this because it's going to be released.
Lisa, I was getting to that as well. So a month later, you're going to publish a film of the crime scene and show you one of the suspects or one of the victims before you killed them? No, that is not that's not offender behavior.
Right. Well,
the person who committed the offense is going to be the person that hides in the shadows. They are not going to be in newspapers making press releases a month later. They're not going to do that. And let's look at the other fact. And the fact is that if they had a body, why would they? Let's say they did kill. Let's say they did 40 of them. Well, just take one, leave the rest under there, and we'll show it to science. Look, we got one.
Take an arm at least.
Shoot. That would have indicated Patterson. That would have indicated Gimlin, Titmus, John Green, Dale Moffat. Keith Cesare was just along for the ride.
Instead of making up this elaborate conspiracy, why wouldn't they have just said, well, we found this body?
Whoops.
No, you don't need an elaborate conspiracy to cover it. You just say, hey, we were out in the woods and we found this body.
Right.
It's a Bigfoot, looks like. Look at that.
Yeah. Strangest thing. Just lying right there.
Jan, I'm really I'm not really paying much attention to, like, if somebody's being jokey, I'm not really paying much mind to that. What I am paying mind to is the serious comments, which I do often, because this, unlike what you may have experienced before, is actually a community. These people enjoy joking with each other, talking with each other, stuff like that. Yep. So that's why they're doing what they're doing. That's what they do.
We got the greatest audience in Bigfooting.
We do have the greatest.
Yes. Proud of each and every one of them.
But as we said earlier, Martin, knowledge of a crime could get you in trouble. There's been no crime because Bigfoot is not in a classification.
Yeah, no, that's just an excuse. It just seems like an excuse.
Oh, you think most criminal psychology is junk psychology? Really? Really? Based on what? Based on what receipts? Wow. I tell you what, Keith, have you been in the Who's Gal? Have you been in the Clink? That why you think that?
That is totally not true, man. I watch a ton of psychological breakdowns of criminals, like, just on the various YouTube channels.
Goodbye. I banned
them.
I'm done with stupid comments. That's a stupid comment.
Oh, that is, yeah.
Sorry, that was a stupid comment. Sorry.
Well, it was an opinion. It was an opinion.
No, that wasn't an opinion. That was just, I think it's junk science. Really? Why? Now you're insulting me. Goodbye.
Well, that's probably a flat earther too. I mean, consider the source.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I just that making gaslighting comments like that annoys me. That's a trollish comment. Goodbye. And it's the only comment he made all night.
Probably,
So goodbye.
probably MK.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding about
Yeah,
that.
I don't
MK
think
would do
Todd or MK would do it.
No.
Anita was here to, rather, Jan was supposed to be here to make sure it wasn't a bash fest, but really Jan's the one who's come out swinging at us for talking business rather than getting personal. Nothing here is personal.
It just comes down to she's defending her friend is what she's doing. It's an emotional based thing. She's not looking at the facts, basically ignoring the facts. So it's like, it's really hard having a conversation with these people, and try to have these discussions, because it's always going to fall back on, hey, you're just attacking my friend. Hey, why do you have a right to do, they're going to come up with all these blockers in their mind to not look at the evidence and just somehow attack you and think you're the problem for bringing it up.
Right. To the point where I'm being insultive to Dr. Maccabee. Why am I being insultive to Dr. Maccabee? I'm giving a very well-versed, definitive analysis of the Gatewood thing. I'm disagreeing with MK's evidence. How is that an insult to Dr. Maccabee? Again, gaslighting. Gotta stop.
At all.
Gotta stop. Okay. So here is the question for Brian. What will it take for science to accept Bigfoot? Can it do without a body? Don't know. I don't know.
I don't think it would. Because you got to think the DNA was going to come back probably human, part human maybe, or something like that. That just going to throw off. You're like, oh, it's human contamination or something. And I think people are more visual, and they'll be more, once you have a body there laying right there in front of them, so to speak, I think more people will be accepting of that versus a piece of paper saying, hey, this is Bigfoot, but it does have some human in it, but don't worry about that, or this is Bigfoot. Right. So I think that's less of a thing than
now, Jan, if you're aiming that towards me, I clearly said that I think Todd was making an honest effort here. And he did a good job, other than the fact I think there was a slight flaw of letting AI or computers or whatever you want to call it kind of fill in the pixels. So I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't insulting. We're just having a discussion about the research he's presenting because, that's what this is a research-based subject.
Jan, there is no hate here. There is no dislike here between me or you or me or Doc or even me and NK and me and Todd. I disagree with what they're saying. That's all I'm saying.
And I'll tell you what.
Thank you, Cryptic Crystal. This isn't about people. This is about the evidence.
Right. And I would like to do an exercise here for a minute, Steve. I would like for us to just stop and let's just turn this around. Let's just say that we are in agreement that there are bodies buried there. And let's just say we are all in agreement. We accept MK's finding. Let's just say, just for conversation's sake. Now, what crime were they trying to hide? What crime? Okay, if this has happened, why would they have been trying to hide the bodies? Because they felt they committed a crime. But was there a crime committed?
No.
Brent, do you think there was a crime committed?
Nope.
There's nothing on the books. Well, not in that area. It says it's illegal to shoot or kill, whatever, a Sasquatch. So where is the crime? There is none. So let's go get those bodies if they're there.
I got the shovel. For real.
If we believe if we believed MK Davis's series of events here, that this happened and that happened, okay. Well, for what reason did they do that?
Right.
There's no crime to hide. Right. Why the big conspiracy needed? There was no need for it. But
right. And even if it was proven that Sasquatch is part of the Homo genus, right, and they make that a homicide, which is the whole basis of the word, you can't backdate it. You can't go back to somebody after 20 years and say, right.
And, there's no doubt.
And I get it. Jan is, loves her friends, dealt with a lot of them, dealt with them a lot. Sure. I understand her defensiveness for it. I get that. I just ask that, you were here to make sure we don't bash people and we're not. We're not.
You know?
Yeah, I don't think we have.
MK, I think he's wrong. I think he's wrong on a bunch of things lately. But does he do some good work? Yes.
Sure.
Is he a gentleman? Absolutely. He's a salt of the earth kind of guy. I don't think he's doing anything nefarious. Neither do I do. After talking to Todd today, neither do I. Todd's just a lot more passionate.
I mean, if you want to go back and review some of the shows, every time we've talked about MK, I always throw in there that I appreciate his contributions that he's made working with the Patterson-Gimlin film, and I think are top notch. You know, but this massacre theory.
Nick, please leave Jan alone. She's good people, you know, and I understand she doesn't see things the way we see them. That's okay, right? We can transcend what goes out on. We can transcend from what happens out in the real political world, where if you don't believe that versus this, you're total enemies. And that doesn't have to be.
No. Steve and I disagree on a few things, and you know, we
Absolutely
can still get by.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, with this disagreement, Bob Gimlin gets death threats and had an attempt on trying to get him charges and stuff. So
there's a lot of danger, right? There's a lot of danger.
Yeah, ruining someone's reputation too, which is a big one. Over evidence that's like so shoddy that literally the evidence you're going off of, Jan, is altered. Do you understand? Altered evidence is not evidence. It's not what happened. It was not what was there in the real world. It wasn't. It was altered. MK talks about this. It was altered.
And what happens is you get some idiot like the late Scott Marlowe, right? And I have zero respect for that guy. Unfortunately, I hate to speak ill of the dead, but I'm not saying I feel bad. He has passed away. I wouldn't want that in anybody, but I will say that he was a flippant idiot. And because of, MK saying this, he decided to start contacting district attorneys in California and state officials in California that brought some heat on Bob. And in fact, when he came out with this, the next thing you know, Bob's getting death threats. Unless you have evidence positive, not just a working theory, because that's all this is a theory. Then
hypothesis, really.
You have to be, as a professional investigator, like I've been, you have to be pragmatic until you get the evidence. I'm going to bring you back, before we go, I'm going to bring you back to a lesson, 2008, the Georgia Bigfoot body hoax. Okay. There was a show I did while I was there, surrounded by Biscardiites. They asked me on the show, do you think Biscardi's responsible? I didn't have any evidence at that point. So I said what I thought. I said, I don't think so, because I had no evidence to do that. 24 hours later, when I was out of that camp, I was starting to receive that evidence and start to gain real evidence. And then 3 months later, I gathered the evidence and got it. Right? I knew things. The bottom line is you have to be pragmatic in research and wait to get the evidence in your hand, which my case was the freezer receipt, to say, hey, yes, he was definitely involved. That's what you have to do. You have to be pragmatic. So MK had this theory. Now, I will say this. The problem with MK was he was starting to talk a lot about it at the Ohio Bigfoot conference, I think back in 2006, maybe 2007. When you start talking about stuff like that, it spreads like wildfire, and it got out to the public. So maybe it was MK's fault, but not MK's fault, if you kind of get my gist.
Well, David Pilates is also responsible for fanning the flames of this story as well. He was a big factor, like him and Bobby Short. Like, damn, son. They were like, they probably amplified it more than MK did, especially David Pilates. And David Pilates was so scandalous too.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Henry. It was 2008. And you get to the point where And you have some people making claims that Bobby Short was murdered. Right. And then you have another guy who goes on his very famous channel and starts making death threats. So that's why when you level charges to somebody that's still here, very dangerous, very bad. The guy was an old guy. Good thing he had a good heart, because it probably would have killed him. So that's the importance of doing that. And I hope you're still here, Jan, because that's what the unintended consequences of those accusations are.
Yeah, there's people behind it. There's consequences of people's actions. I mean, shoot. Imagine getting death threats for something that, happened 50 years ago because of some guys like gaslighting his audience into, our dog whistling his audience into going after somebody for some horrific thing.
Somebody said, don't forget Cat Hansen. Cat Hansen is a proven hoaxer, so her word to me and to most mean nothing. So
it's not even a real name. She's a fake. There's so many fakes in this subject.
That actually is her name.
Oh, is it?
Yes, her name is Katunia Hansen.
Oh,
and she's the only one.
Is she one that? Is she that goes by the different aliases?
No. She has different face pictures a lot of times.
Oh.
Right.
Oh,
She never uses. She only recently her real face has come out.
I think I'm confusing with someone else.
And also, I was the one to break the news that she does not live in Colorado and interact with the Bigfoot daily. She lives in Connecticut. But I digress.
Remember those filters.
Starts with a C. It's close.
Yeah, young men, if you're talking to women on the internet, make sure you get a photo, not a filter.
For realsies.
Anyway, let's wrap up.
But yeah.
Brent, we'll start with you. Let's wrap up for the night here. It's 10:51.
Yeah. I think it was a good discussion tonight, and hopefully MK Davis and Todd Gatewood has a better understanding of what the community is asking of them to better understand the evidence that they're presenting and stuff, and so they don't get so mad at us for asking that. And so that was a hopefully good road to open the discussion, because we really do need to set better standards of what we should accept as evidence, what we shouldn't, what kind of software, and we should have better standards with that. And and with the whole massacre thing, it's one of the silliest things that, because of people influence told their followers, and those followers told other people, there's this big sack of crap out there of something that's not even close to being true. There's evidence to disprove it, but nobody cares about the evidence because they're so invested into MK, into his narrative, because of the friendships involved. So it's always going to be that whole thing fighting there. And that's why I think I would really think that having MK Davis and Todd Gatewood come on and talk about the massacre, and so we can kind of go over the facts, the line by line details, so we can really kind of put this to rest, because he's never done that. And we can have a civil discussion as we've seen tonight. We can have a discussion about this and really kind of just put this to rest and, let it be done. So no other idiot in the future influencer that's going to come in and be like, hey, I need to, stir up some attention for me, so I'm going to go lay with the massacre thing. And that's happened every 5 years now, I think we're at. So let's just put it to rest by having that discussion. Easy to do, literally easy to do. We could do it in 1 hour, and that's it. And people will still decide what they decide, but at least the information that MK Davis is presenting for that will have a counter to him, and he will have that opportunity to respond. And really, people will have a good glimpse on if he is a reliable narrator that is actually lost in the narrative. So outside of that, I thought it was a great conversation.
Yep. And again, Dan, I hope you weren't being singled out. Had I known you were going to be so vocal, I probably would have sent you the link and had you on the show. Because talking face to face is a lot easier than trying to translate a chat, because I'm half seeing the chat and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking. So But anyway, I'm glad we can end on a good note.
Yeah.
And again, best
Maybe
wishes to,
maybe she can come on to a future show and there can be that discussion about it. You guys can discuss it. Maybe she can present that a little clip, a little tease, give us a little tease about that little video that she has of the baby.
right.
Give us just a little taste, just a little 2-second thing. But maybe that will work out. That would be a good discussion.
And guess what? We won't even have to talk about the massacre. We can leave that aside. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is a lot of many facets to this mystery.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but Chris.
Yeah, I just want to say that I appreciate Mr. Gatewood's effort to get us a closer look at what could be Patty. But because of my reservations about that photo imagery software and the algorithms and these filters, I don't think that's a valid anything valid scientifically. But I appreciate the effort, and I can understand he's not attempting. I don't believe for a minute he's attempting to hoax anybody.
Oh no,
He's just using that algorithm to fill in the blanks on Patty's face, which I think it's just impossible to do for reality. But yeah, we don't on this show we don't throw rocks at people, unless they deserve it.
Sometimes we do,
unless they deserve it. Okay, and with MK, I've said it a million times, and I know Steve probably gets tired of hearing me saying it, but I appreciate all the work he's done on the Patterson-Gimlin film. He did some top quality stuff. But then again, when we get to this massacre theory, that's completely, left field. And, I can't see any, that's just a matter of opinion. And he has an opinion. I respect that. That doesn't mean I have to agree with it.
Yeah. Right. We can all be respectful and disagree.
Right. Sure.
The problem is, and I always have pure Vault of BS would like people to sub to his channel. So we will do that for Vault of BS. Go over to his channel, sub. He's gonna have some really interesting videos there later, I'm sure. He's not got some there already. Good Lord. And Platypus gave up stand-up comedy. His jokes were real egg layers.
Egg layers. That was terrible.
All right, Ralph had enough of that one.
Okay.
Oh
man.
Well, anyway, and I want to thank again Mitch Hargrove for becoming a member. Thank you, Red Creek Mafia, for the super sticker.
Appreciate
thank you for the shout out, Anita. So much. And I
want to thank Brent again for coming on tonight. Brent, we've enjoyed having you. It's always a pleasure. And if anybody, we appreciate you guys over in chat. And if it's your first time watching, first time listening, go over to the YouTube channel, hit the like, hit the subscribe if you hadn't already. And if you have, thank you.
Right.
But,
absolutely.
Greatest audience in Bigfooting. We thank you. We appreciate you. We wouldn't do this if you weren't here. Thank you.
That is very true, Woodbugger. We do need more folks calling out the BS and stuff that doesn't. But anyway, I guess that's it for this show tonight. And it's a good thing Bill is planning for Hocking Hills. Look forward to seeing you guys there. And remember, when everything looks bad, remember.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
All right, we're going to end it with a smile tonight. Folks, on behalf of everybody, or on behalf of everybody here, Brent, thanks for coming on tonight, brother. Good seeing you, good talking to you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Chris, as always, we'll see you Friday. So people know every day this week, we're going to have a short released in the morning. So 5:45 tomorrow morning, there will be a short clip of Dr. Meldrum. So that'll be all this week, Monday through Saturday. So we have the whole week of Dr. Meldrum. making some very astute observations, and it'll be a good teachable moment for those who had forgot. So you can see those without having to look at the entire 2-hour, 15-minute podcast. Anyway, again, on behalf of me and everybody else, we want to wish everybody a happy, safe, healthy week. Stay safe out there. Keep healthy. God bless. Most of all, keep on squatching. We'll catch you all Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern for the Bigfoot News. We'll catch you all in a bit.
Hey folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Kulls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless and keep on squatching.